Okay, hello and welcome to this webinar today. It's going to be a webinar on reading from the academic reading test. If you're watching for the first time, great subscribers. My name is Greg. I've been an English teacher for the last 15 years. I've been back here in my hometown, New Zealand for the last 2 years. And a lot of that time I've been working for the grade site. So this, I believe, is webinar number 32. So these webinars, or this particular series of webinars, started during the lockdown period here in New Zealand. We're out of that period, thankfully, but we're still continuing to put some new material out for you. So if you have any questions while you're watching, please feel free to ask them via the grade site. We have Tom at the other end. He'll take any questions and he'll relay them to me. So please stop me at any stage. Today's quite a tricky reading and the focus is going to be on skimming. So I'd like to take you across to the grade site right now. So hopefully you can see that. So hopefully you should be able to see the grade landing page or the dashboard. So we're going to practice the reading. So if I scroll down, we can go on to tests. The one we're going to work on today is forests, oceans, and climate change. Now, you would have heard me say this before if you watched other webinars, but please always remember with the reading tests, they're an hour long, as it says here on the screen, but that includes filling out the answer sheet. That's different from the listening test where you have 10 minutes after you listen to the tracks to fill out your answer sheet. You do not get an extra 10 minutes at the end of this reading test to fill out the answer sheet. That is done during the 1 hour of the test. So academic reading, very similar. Each section in an academic reading test is very similar to the final section in a general training test. So if you're a grade subscriber watching right now or watching the replay and you're preparing for the general training IELTS test, please watch because this will still be helpful. So let's go through. We're going to work on section 2. So click through. Now, when plastics fill our oceans, so we can see we have the title there. One other feature of the grade site is we can maximize the size of the actual reading material itself. So we don't need the questions to be quite as big as what they are. Now, as I mentioned, the focus here is going to be on scanning. I should have said scanning. So they're the two main reading skills that you're going to need in the IELTS test. With skimming, it means you're going to read the headings, read the first parts of the paragraph to try to get a general understanding or global understanding of what the reading's about. But in many cases, and definitely with this test here, I think it's possible to just jump straight into scanning. Scanning is when you're looking for particular answers in the text. So, for example, this is probably not exactly the type of question that you would expect to find on test day, but remember, this is a practice test. So this test has been developed to focus on scanning skills. So question 14, we're asked to select the fact about plastic oceans that was mentioned by the writer. We have two choices. So most marine litter is recovered through beach cleanups, or 2 to 5% of plastics generated in the world entered the world's ocean in 2010. With this type of question, what I would do is I would just look for the keywords that are in both statements. Now, we know that the title here is when plastics fill up our oceans. So if we look at option A, the kind of words I would not be scanning for would be marine, because marine is likely to be found throughout the reading. Litter, again, the title, we know that it's when plastics fill up our oceans. Probably the word litter, I imagine, is going to be mentioned or used many times throughout. So what I would be scanning for is beach cleanups, right? So that's the real trick when you're scanning, is working out what are the keywords that you're going to try find. So hopefully, as we scan through, we can find hopefully we'll get the exact same words, beach cleanups, but we might find some words which are related, or they might be synonyms. So let's have a look and see if we can find anything about beach cleanups. So you can try this at home. I'm just going to scroll down, and all I'm doing is I'm looking for anything about beach cleanups. Now, you may not be quite as fast at scanning as I am. Obviously, English is my first language, but this is why these practice tests have been developed, because this is the skill which is going to help you get a good score on test day. You have that 1 hour time limit, so you really need to be able to scan over the reading material quickly. And as you can see, I highlighted before, beach. Now, so when I find the keyword beach, then what I'm going to do is read the entire sentence and see if it has the same meaning as option A from question 14. So we're told, a beach full of litter is understandably not very appealing to visitors. So that does not have the same meaning, right? That is not mentioned by the writer. So I'm just going to keep scanning for beach. Okay, quite a long reading. We can also see cleaning, but here it has nothing to do with beaches, right? So this, by process of elimination, this means that the answer must be B, but perhaps on test day you want to confirm that. So what we're going to do now is I would probably look for when you're given the option of numbers, they're usually easier to scan for. So if we try scan for 2010, hopefully we'll be able to find that quite easily. So we'll just go back to the top, and I want to give you a chance as the viewer to do some scanning as well. We're looking now for 2010. And if you have an eagle eye, you probably saw that pop up down here. So according to one estimate, 2 to 5% of the plastic generated in the world entered the world's oceans in 2010. So obviously this test has been developed, as I mentioned, for you to practice your scanning skills. It's easy to find the answer in the text, but the trick is you need to be able to do this quickly. I still think the method that I've introduced to you, where you just pick out the keywords, is probably going to be the fastest overall. On test day, you're likely to have more than 2 options though. You're probably going to have 4 if it's a multiple choice question like this. But this is still going to help us with our scanning skills to make it faster. Let's go through to question 15. And again, we have 2 options. Now, marine litter is not a global problem. You probably saw from our scanning before that the words marine and litter are mentioned throughout the reading. So here's a good idea. What about, instead of starting with marine litter is not a global problem, let's start with option B, and perhaps we might find that. Now, one word which pops out to me here is entangled, right? So many marine animals become entangled in plastic and die. So there aren't too many words for entangled. Perhaps trapped might be another one, but let's see if we can find the word entangled or another part of speech for entangled. Okay, straight away we can see the word entangled. So many marine species can get entangled in larger pieces of marine litter and can be injured and die from it. So here it's been reduced to just this simple statement, but you see what I did is I started with a word which might be easier to find. Luckily that was the answer, so then I didn't waste my time looking for words which are going to appear often, which are in option A. So the answer there is B. Make sure that has been selected as B. So we should have B, B. Okay, question 16. So oceans will never be completely free of waste. Many seabirds and mammals can digest plastic safely. Now, hopefully you can already guess what I'm about to say, which is, I think it's very safe to make a prediction for this particular answer. I can't think of many seabirds and mammals that can digest plastic safely. So my prediction is that the answer is A. Now, still want to confirm that that's the answer. So I'm probably going to be looking for free of waste, right? Or this might be a little harder to find because all of those words in the sentence might be high frequency words in this reading, but let's see if we can find the answer. So we can see waste here. So I'm just going to have a quick check. Marine litter is the term used for solid particles of waste found in our seas. That does not have the same meaning. Now I can see the word oceans. That's the same sentence as before, so I know that's not the answer. Whoops. Let's go back. What's happened here? I must have double clicked and it's opened up my browser. Sorry about that. That's all right. I can get this back straight away. So we had B was the answer there, and then we had B was the answer there. I will be more careful with my trackpad. So we were checking for oceans will never be completely free from waste. Again, I'm just looking for any instances of the word ocean. We can see oceans at the bottom here. So, and I can see above there oceans. And when I find that instance of oceans, I can see above the word waste. So a little bit of luck to find that way. But the sentence tells us we also have to accept that our oceans are never going to be fully free of waste. So definitely our prediction about B being incorrect was the right prediction. So here we have it. Now, we have another question type, which is a very common one that you might encounter on test day, where you have to choose the correct sentence ending. Now, don't overwhelm yourself with all the different options. That's my first hint. Only focus on the first part of the sentence. Then try to find the keywords from the first part of the sentence in the reading. Get the answer and then match the answer to the options. There's no way that you, well, unless you have a photographic memory, it's very difficult to hold all the information from A through to E in mind when you're scanning. Just scan for some keywords from the first part of the sentence. Now, I would be looking for fragment. We know it's going to be plastic fragments. There aren't too many synonyms for fragment, maybe parts or small parts. But let's see if we can find something about fragments. So we're going to go back to the top. And as we do move through this test a few times, we're going to become more familiar with it. If you're watching at home, you may have noticed this when you were scanning with me before. Okay, scroll down. Okay, we can see at the top of paragraph 4. So let's highlight the sentence for you. Okay, this is the one we're after. With time, plastic items fragment into smaller pieces, some of which cannot be seen with the naked eye. So the next part of the sentence says, some of which cannot be seen with the naked eye. So that is our answer that we're going to look for in the different options. And as it happens, it's actually the exact same words. So I'm just going to type that in, some of which cannot be seen with the naked eye. I would definitely put in the full stop. Use the correct punctuation. Sometimes you might not be penalized for incorrect punctuation, but it's always better to be accurate. Okay, so the same thing, a beach full of litter. Now, because we know that this topic is about plastics filling the ocean, litter, you've probably already noticed, is definitely a high frequency word. Let's focus on finding the word beach. Okay, in the fifth paragraph, hopefully you saw that as well. So we have this sentence: a beach full of litter is understandably not very appealing to visitors. And that is the same as answer A. So I'm just going to write it in for your benefit at home. In most cases on test day, you will just have to write A as the answer, but I believe for the purpose of this practice that we need to type in the answer. Hopefully I've spelt that right. The system will pick up any misspellings and mark it as wrong, so hopefully that's right. Okay, so now, this is going to take us longer. So marine litter. Now, this one here, I would actually try to make a prediction because as you've seen, the instances of marine litter in this reading are very high. So I want to at least narrow down a possible answer. So we know the answer is not going to be A, and the answer is not going to be F, because those have already been taken. So marine litter, how we can reuse and recycle better, that is grammatically incorrect. So B's not a possible answer. Marine litter, time consuming and clean, again, grammatically incorrect, can't be possible. Marine litter, to reconcile with our past mistakes, not possible. Marine litter is isolated to regional areas. Now that seems, well, it's grammatically correct, but it seems like it's not possible because all of the oceans and seas in the world are connected. So maybe that's possible. It's definitely grammatically possible. But let's carry on. F we've already done. Marine litter, to create new methods of detecting marine litter. So that doesn't make sense grammatically. H, marine litter, who is responsible for marine litter? Again, grammatically not correct. Now this looks like the most likely answer to me, and it says marine litter is a global problem. Now, because that's my prediction, I think it's going to be easier to find global problem in the reading. So what we're doing right now is we're scanning for the expression or the two words global problem. Okay, and as we scan through, we can see global problem, which was easier to find than marine litter. Then when I read the whole sentence, sorry about that, it tells us this makes marine litter a global problem, right? So marine litter is a global problem. Full stop. Okay, question 20. There is no easy way of deciding. So the word that I think is going to be easiest to find here will be deciding. So I'm going to go back to the top because it could be at the top, but I'm scanning for the word deciding or a different part of speech. Choosing could be a possible synonym, so I'm going to bear that in mind. But it seems from the design of this test that most of the words are in the questions appear in the text itself. Okay, hopefully you just noticed that as well. So as I scan down to the final paragraph, I see the keyword deciding. I'm going to read that whole sentence now. So moreover, there is no easy way of deciding. So obviously this must be our answer. And the second part is who is responsible for marine litter and who should pay for cleaning it up, which matches with H. So who is responsible for marine litter? Full stop. Now, I think there's a couple more of these. There's one more of these sentence ending questions. So we have enough knowledge, technology, and human innovation. So this one to me is an easier one because hopefully words like knowledge, technology, innovation should be easy to find. And actually, it just popped out to me right here. So I can see those words, knowledge, technology, human innovation. So I personally believe that we have enough knowledge, technology, and human innovation to reconcile with our past mistakes and create a new chapter for the oceans, which matches with D, to reconcile with our past mistakes. So definitely this practice test has been developed with the skill of scanning in mind, right? So still not easy though. We still need to be able to find those words quickly on test day. Now, another classic question type, look very carefully at the instructions. Here, it says no more than 2 words. Now, that is the case sometimes on authentic IELTS tests. Sometimes you're asked to use no more than 2 words. In most cases, it's no more than 3 words, but obviously this means to answer this question, we cannot write 3 words. So marine litter is the term known used for solid particles of. So we know that the blank must at least have one noun, right? So of preposition is going to be for a noun. Let's go right up to the top. The words I'm going to be scanning for are solid particles. Okay, maybe you saw it before me, but right here. So marine litter is the term used for solid particles of waste. Now, don't do this. All right, so obviously here we have 5 words. Let's review those instructions again. We're told that we cannot use more than 2 words. So that means our answer is waste. Now, I'm not going to use the full stop because in this case, the full stop is in the question. So we just have to write waste as the answer. Next one, I think ingested is going to be the easiest word to scan for. Definitely not many synonyms for ingested, maybe digested or swallowed. Let's see if we can find that. As I scroll down, so I'm more familiar with the test now because I've scanned it a few times. And we can see here, no more than 2 words. We have the word microplastics. Microplastics can be ingested by a wider range of smaller animals affecting marine food webs. So I'm going to write in microplastics. And again, we're told to use no more than 2 words. Marine litter is also an. Now, this is an important thing to bear in mind. We know that the next word will be a vowel sound, right? We have the indefinite article an. An is always followed by a vowel sound, so such as a, u, e, like that. The words I'm going to be scanning for will be coastal communities because they should be easier to find. And as it happens, I just noticed them. So marine litter is also an economic loss for coastal communities and the economic sectors dependent on the sea. So marine litter is also an economic loss. Whoops, just 2 S's. Okay, so question 25, the worlds are connected. Now, to me, the easiest word to scan for here will be connected. So let's go back up to the top. Now we know there must be a noun in there somewhere, because we have world possessive. Possessives are followed by nouns. Let's look for connected. Okay, here we have it. So the world's oceans and seas are connected. Now, I think there may be a small typo here. So, well, I think the best answer is going to be oceans and seas. Obviously, that is more than 2 words. So I will follow up to make sure that those instructions get changed to 3 words. Don't worry, because the answer definitely, well, I cannot see how the answer is not oceans and seas. So make sure that those instructions get updated so that they're not going to be confusing anymore. But let's move on to the final question. And again, we need to work out what word's going to be easiest to find. I think Earth's surface in this case will be the easiest one to find. Let's go back up to the top, because it may be near the top. Now, again, you might want to make other predictions. So we know it's going to be a noun. If you know a lot about geography, then you might know that oceans cover 2/3, 75%, 70%, something like that. It may be a percentage or it may be a fraction. So that seems to be the most likely answer. So let's look for Earth's surface. Again, I'm starting to scan faster because I'm more familiar with the reading. Looking for Earth's. Okay, and it just appeared to me. So Earth's surface. So let's read the whole sentence. Cleaning up what has been accumulating seems unrealistic, especially given that oceans cover almost 3/4 of the Earth's surface. So no numbers, no numerals rather. So here we have a written fraction written out. So that's the end of this particular section. Let's check to see if I made any mistakes. Click on next, then we can go to finish, and we're going to get a score. So I think we did 13 questions. They should all be green. Yay, no typos. So there we have it. Today we had a strong focus with this practice test on scanning. It may look very easy, but on test day, the key is to make sure that you can scan quickly. So this test has been designed with that in mind. Not too many synonyms in play here, but I think if you try it yourself, maybe later on, it's definitely going to be good practice to increase your scanning speed. So let's have a look at the schedule ahead. And I believe, well, let's just start by saying that we have a replay on Sunday. I'll take you through to the, back to the digital whiteboard, and I'll quickly erase that. So we'll talk about the next 2 webinars. So we have a webinar on Sunday, which is June the 21st, isn't it? Now, this will be a replay. And I just need to check which one that is, sorry. So just 1 second. Okay, what have we got on Sunday? Yes, it's another writing one. So now, if you want to watch the replay, I'm going to be taking questions myself. So if you watch the replay, all of our webinars start 1:30 Indian Standard Time. If you want to watch the replay, I will be monitoring the Facebook page, so I can take any questions. next Tuesday, which is the 23rd, it should be, yes. That's the public webinar. And next Tuesday, we have one on speaking. So I think grade subscribers, you've seen me do one of these before. It's going to be a public one next time, but please tune in. Then for grade subscribers, for you guys, next Thursday, June the 25th, we're going to be doing listening. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you're studying for the academic tests or the general training tests. It's the same test for the listening subtest. So wherever you are, stay well, and maybe I'll see you online on Sunday. Otherwise, next Tuesday for the public webinar, or definitely next Thursday for you grade subscribers. Stay safe.